Move through life like you are the best. Behave as you already won. There's a certain way a man walks into a room when he knows he belongs there. He doesn't ask for approval. He doesn't glance around for permission. He doesn't shrink into the corners like a shadow. He moves as though the ground has been waiting for his foot to touch it. I want you to imagine walking like that, not just into a room, but into your own life. Most men wait. They wait until they're ready. They wait until they feel brave, until they have enough money, until someone else finally says, "Yes, now you can." They waste years waiting for a mythical moment of permission that never comes. And then one day they look back and realize the thing they were waiting for was in their hands the whole time, the choice to act. Let me tell you something that will not feel comfortable. Readiness is a lie. You will never feel ready for the big leap, the hard conversation, the decision that changes everything. Readiness doesn't arrive at your doorstep like a polite guest. It grows inside you only when you've already started moving. History shows us this again and again. Take Alexander the Great. He didn't inherit a peaceful kingdom. He inherited a fractured empire and enemies on every side. He could have hesitated, waited until his generals were loyal, until his forces were larger. But hesitation would have made him pray. Instead, he acted so decisively that the world never had a chance to breathe between his victories. That's the point. The world will respond to you in the same way you present yourself. If you walk timidly, life will push you around. If you walk with presence, even before you feel it, life will open its doors. You might be thinking, but I don't have that kind of confidence yet. That's exactly why you need to act as if you already do. Confidence isn't a prerequisite. It's the reward for showing up again and again before you feel like it. So here's the first challenge. Stop waiting for the green light. Step forward while the light is still red, and let your own momentum change it to green. Memorize this. A man becomes worthy by acting before he feels worthy. When you take the first step like that, the second step comes easier. And before long, you're walking like you own the ground beneath you. Hesitation is a thief with soft hands. It doesn't strike you with violence. It slowly drains the blood from your will. You think you're taking time to think, but what you're really doing is giving your fear a chair and pouring it a drink. You know that moment, the pulse quickens, the thought arrives, I should do this now, but then another voice whispers, maybe later. That's the moment where men are forged or forgotten. The gap between thought and action is where hesitation lives, and hesitation feeds on that gap. You've been told that caution is wise. And yes, there's wisdom in planning, but most of you aren't planning. You're stalling. You're avoiding the discomfort of the unknown, as if standing still makes you safe. It doesn't. It just makes you easier to hit. Look at Julius Caesar. Before crossing the Rubicon, he knew the consequences: civil war, exile, even death. He could have delayed, called for more talks, tried to smooth the edges. Instead, he crossed that river in a single decisive act, sealing his fate and changing history. If he had hesitated, his enemies would have destroyed him before the sun set. You might not be crossing rivers with armies, but you have your own Rubicon moments every week. The phone call you avoid, the opportunity you don't seize, the risk you don't take because you want more certainty. And each time you hesitate, you teach yourself to shrink. Here's the cruel truth. You will never know enough to remove all doubt. The man who waits for total clarity will die waiting. You must decide, and then clarity will follow. Think of momentum like a fire. Action is the spark. Hesitation is the wind that blows it out. If you want that fire to grow, You have to feed it with movement, not with endless thinking. So the next time you feel hesitation creeping in, shrink the gap. Don't give it room to breathe. Count down from 3 and move. 3, 2, 1 step. Remember this. Hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will. Fear is not the brick wall you think it is. It's a shadow painted on the wall. It looks solid, but the moment you move toward it, you realize there's nothing to touch, only the illusion of weight. The trouble is, most men never test it. They see the shadow from a distance and turn away, imagining it's too strong to pass through. They never find out that one step forward would have sent their fear scattering like smoke. You must understand this. Fear grows in stillness. The more you stand and stare at it, the taller it gets. But when you advance toward it, even slowly, it loses its shape. Look at Ernest Shackleton, the Antarctic explorer who faced ice, storms, starvation, and the unknown. When his ship, the Endurance, was trapped and crushed by ice, he didn't collapse into panic. Every step he took was into the unknown, but he took them anyway, leading his men across miles of frozen wasteland. And here's the part you must notice. He didn't wait for his fear to vanish before acting. He acted with fear sitting on his shoulder. That's the skill. It's not to be fearless. That's a myth sold to boys who haven't lived yet. The mature man learns to carry fear without letting it steer him. Fear will speak to you in reasonable tones. Wait. Think. Play it safe. You can always try later. But later is the word fear uses to kill action without a fight. Here's what I suggest. The next time fear speaks, agree with it and move anyway. Yes, this could fail. Yes, this could hurt. And I'm going to do it regardless. This simple inner statement is like cutting the strings of a puppet master. Suddenly fear no longer pulls your limbs. You will find, as countless men before you have found, that courage isn't a lightning bolt from heaven. It's a decision repeated every time your chest tightens and your mind says no. Never forget, fear is loudest just before you step through it. One of the most poisonous phrases in a man's vocabulary is, "I'll do it when I'm ready." It sounds mature. It sounds responsible. But if you peel back the skin, you find the soft, trembling muscle of fear underneath. Men have been burying their dreams under this excuse for centuries. They tell themselves they need more knowledge, more skill, more time. But readiness isn't something that arrives wrapped in gold paper and placed gently in your lap. Readiness is built like muscle, through strain, repetition, and work that makes you ache. Think about the first time you jumped into cold water. You didn't stand there until the water became warm. You jumped and your body adapted. Life is like that. You leap first, then you become ready. This is why so many young men drift. They think preparation is the same thing as progress. They confuse reading about something with living it. They want to feel the confidence before they take the step, when in truth, the step is the only way to feel the confidence. Look at the Wright brothers. They didn't wait until they had perfect aeronautical equations. They built crude machines, crashed them, learned from the wreckage, and built again. Flight wasn't born out of readiness. It was born out of motion. Every man I've ever respected had this in common. They began before they felt prepared. They trusted themselves enough to enter the arena bloody and unpolished, knowing they'd learn faster inside the fight than standing outside of it. If you wait until you're ready, you'll die with your sword still in its sheath. So here's the discipline. When your mind says, "I'll start when," cut off the sentence. Replace it with, "I'll start now." Then move even a small step, because movement is the mother of readiness. Memorize this truth. You don't prepare to act. You act to prepare. There's a law you need to carve into your mind. Motion creates emotion. Most men believe the opposite, that you have to feel motivated before you can move. But that's not how the world works. Movement comes first. The feeling follows. Think of a train sitting still. It takes enormous force to get it rolling, but once it moves, the weight works in your favor. You barely need to push. The momentum carries it forward. Your life is no different. This is why starting small is so powerful. Write the first sentence. Make the first call. Lift the first weight. You don't need to feel like doing it. You just need to start. 10 minutes in, you'll notice your mind is already catching up to your body. History proves this in ways we can't ignore. Ulysses S. Grant was not a man of constant inspiration. During the Civil War, he moved his army steadily, sometimes in grinding, joyless marches. But by moving, he kept the initiative. The Confederacy was always reacting, never leading. That is the power of momentum. It forces the world to adjust to you. The tragedy is that many men break their own momentum the moment they feel discomfort. They stop, they retreat, they reset. But momentum doesn't care about how you feel. It's built by consistent forward motion, not perfect conditions. Here's a secret. When you build momentum, you also build a kind of gravity. People notice. Opportunities start to orbit around you. And because you're moving, you're in position to catch them. Don't underestimate the smallest motion. Even walking with purpose can shift your state. The difference between a stagnant man and a man in motion is like the difference between a pond and a river. One gathers scum, the other carves valleys. So the next time you feel stuck, don't wait for motivation to visit you like a guest. Invite it by moving first. Write this on your wall. Motion is the match. Motivation is the flame. There's a heavy silence that comes with growing up. The realization that certainty is a luxury few men enjoy. The wise don't wait for perfect clarity or complete confidence. They act despite doubt, knowing that waiting for doubt to vanish is waiting for a storm that may never pass. Spiritual maturity is not a feeling. It's a commitment to stand, move, and speak when your insides tremble with questions. This is the moment when many men falter, because they confuse faith with feeling. They think faith means being unshaken. But real faith is standing firm in the middle of the shaking. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor. He ruled a crumbling empire, faced wars, plagues, betrayals, and personal loss. Yet he wrote in his meditations not of despair, but of endurance. The choice to perform his duty even when the path was unclear, even when his soul ached with uncertainty. His greatness wasn't in knowing the outcome, but in embracing the mystery and moving forward regardless. Ask yourself, how often have you paused because you needed the path illuminated in neon lights? How often have you waited for the fog to clear, when the truth is the fog is the path? You must grow comfortable with the tension of doubt. The man who waits for it to disappear will never walk his true road. Instead, carry doubt like a trusted companion, not a chain. Remember this. Spiritual maturity is acting in a storm, not waiting for the calm. There's a difference between control and suppression, a difference many men never fully understand. Control means you are the master of your emotions, not their prisoner. Suppression means you bury them deep, hoping they never rise to the surface. When you suppress, you build a house on sand. One day, that storm comes and everything collapses. Anger explodes in fits. Fear sneaks behind your back and takes the wheel. Sadness drags you under without warning. Control is different. It's seeing your emotions clearly, naming them, feeling them, but not letting them decide your actions. It's like a skilled sailor who feels the storm but steers the ship steady. Masculinity isn't about being stone-faced or numb. It's about being fully present with your feelings but never owned by them. This is what true discipline looks like in the emotional realm. Look at Theodore Roosevelt. His life was full of hardship, asthma, personal losses, political battles. Yet he channeled his restless energy and emotion into action. Boxing, writing, leading. He didn't run from the pain or anger. He used it to fuel his purpose. Ask yourself, do you react to your feelings like a passenger without a seatbelt, or do you pilot your own inner world with calm and intention? Practice this. Next time strong emotion arises, pause. Breathe. Name it silently. This is anger. This is fear. Then choose how to respond, not react. Remember this. True strength is feeling deeply without losing control. There's a kind of strength that doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. Presence is the quiet gravity of a man who knows who he is, even when no one's watching. It's the power to hold a room without raising your voice, to draw attention without demanding it. Presence is built on a foundation deeper than muscles or loud words. It's born from self-respect, from the discipline of being fully here, not distracted, not anxious, not trying to prove anything. Look at the great leaders, from Winston Churchill to Nelson Mandela. They didn't always dominate with force. They held presence, a calm, steady force that shaped every interaction. People listened because they felt the man was anchored, unshakable inside. Presence is not about arrogance or bluster. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from a man who's mastered himself. You can cultivate presence by practicing stillness. Stop rushing. Stop filling every silence. Learn to be comfortable with yourself and with the pause. When you speak, make your words count. When you move, move with intention. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly owned a moment, rather than letting it slip past you? Presence invites respect. It does not demand it. And when you develop it, the world begins to move around you, not the other way. Remember this. The strongest men don't need to speak loud. Their presence says enough. Not every battle is yours to fight. The art of indifference isn't about apathy or laziness. It's a deliberate, powerful choice to focus your energy on what truly matters, and to let the rest fall away like dead leaves. A man with discipline understands that attention is currency. Every distraction, every petty drama, every worry about things outside his control is a withdrawal from his own wealth of strength. Consider the Stoics, like Epictetus, who taught that we don't control events, only our reactions. This is the root of indifference, caring only about what deserves your care. Look at Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. He faced immense pressure, political enemies, personal loss. But he refused to be dragged into every insult or rumor. Instead, he held steady, focusing on the greater goal of preserving the Union. Your challenge is this. Identify what truly deserves your energy. Is it the opinion of someone who doubts you? Probably not. Is it the endless scroll of distractions on your phone? Absolutely not. Practice choosing your battles, not because you don't care, but because you care wisely. Indifference isn't weakness. It's strength, a shield forged by knowing what to fight and what to leave alone. Remember this. Where you place your attention shapes your life. Choose with warrior's wisdom. Masculinity, in its deepest sense, is not a costume you put on or a set of behaviors you imitate. It is a foundation built on discipline, forged through resilience. Discipline is the quiet backbone of every strong man. It's waking up before the sun, when the world is still asleep, and doing the work no one else sees. It's holding yourself accountable when no one else demands it. Resilience is what happens when discipline meets hardship. The world will test you. It will push, pull, and break you if you let it. But a disciplined man bends without breaking. He absorbs the pain, learns the lesson, and stands taller. Think of the samurai, bound by Bushido, the way of a warrior. Their discipline was not about cruelty or violence. It was about mastering self-control, courage, and loyalty. They knew that true power begins within. Ask yourself, what discipline have you neglected in your life? What strength have you left untapped because you chose comfort over challenge? Masculinity asks for courage, not to prove yourself to others, but to prove to yourself that you can endure and overcome. Remember this. Discipline is the soil where resilience grows. There will never be a perfect moment. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you're ready. Life doesn't pause so you can align all the stars. It moves relentlessly, and the perfect moment is a ghost you chase until you're exhausted. Men often wait because they fear failure, rejection, or discomfort. They tell themselves, just a little longer, then I'll be ready. But that's the lie that kills ambition quietly, without ceremony. Look at the great inventors, the artists, the leaders. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They seized the moment in chaos, uncertainty, and sometimes even despair. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb worked. Did he wait for the perfect moment? No. He moved through failure, learning with every step. If you keep waiting, you'll watch others take the prize you wanted. You'll lose not because you're incapable, but because you're unwilling to begin imperfectly. Your challenge is simple. Start imperfectly. Start messy. Start scared. Start with what you have, where you are. Remember this, the perfect moment is a myth. The real moment is now. Emotional detachment isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about rising above the chaos of your emotions so you can see clearly what needs to be done. A man who is emotionally detached controls his reaction without denying his feelings. He feels deeply, but he refuses to be led like a blindfolded horse by every surge of anger, jealousy, or fear. This takes practice. The world will try to pull you into drama, distractions, and emotional storms. But the truly strong man knows when to step back and watch with calm eyes. Look at Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of concentration camps. He found freedom in choosing his response, even when everything around him was stripped away. That is the essence of detachment, the power to decide your attitude, no matter your circumstances. Ask yourself, when emotion rises, do you lose control or hold your ground? Can you observe your feelings without being consumed? This is the secret to inner peace and unshakable confidence. It's a place where strength is not loud, but undeniable. Remember this, emotional detachment is not absence of feeling, it's mastery of feeling. Silence is the language of the strong. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and endless chatter, the man who can sit quietly with himself holds a rare power. Silence allows reflection, and reflection leads to clarity. Many men fear silence because it forces them to face themselves, their doubts, mistakes, and fears. But avoidance only deepens confusion. True growth begins when you're willing to look inward without flinching. Think of the great philosophers and warriors, from Lao Tzu to Miyamoto Musashi. They understood that the greatest battles are fought in the mind and spirit. They sought solitude to sharpen their understanding and prepare for the challenges ahead. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat still and listened to your own thoughts? Or did you drown them out with noise, scrolling, or busy work? Cultivate moments of silence daily. Use them to ask the hard questions and hear your own true answers. This practice will build your inner fortress, a place no external chaos can breach. Remember this: silence is not emptiness. It's the space where strength is born. Every choice you make is a stone laid in the foundation of your legacy. The life you live today echoes into the future, not just for you, but for the men and women who will come after you. Legacy isn't about trophies or praise. It's about the quiet impact of consistent action. It's the strength passed down in character, discipline, and courage. Look at men like Theodore Roosevelt, who inspired generations not only by words, but by relentless deeds. His legacy is not just history. It's a call to stand taller, work harder, and face life bravely. Ask yourself, what are you building with your time and energy? What will remain when the noise of your days fades? You don't need to conquer the world to leave a meaningful mark. You need only to be relentless in your pursuit of growth, integrity, and purpose. Here we come to the heart of it, the mindset that changes everything. Acting as if you are already the man you want to become isn't arrogance. It's a declaration. It's telling the world and yourself, I am not waiting for permission. I am not waiting for approval. I step into my power now. This isn't about pretending. It's about embodying confidence and discipline in every choice, every word, every step. It's about living in the reality of your potential, not the fear of your failures. Think of the great warriors, the leaders, the legends. They moved through life as if victory was already theirs, because in their minds it was. Their posture, their decisions, their actions all reflected a man who knew his worth and refused to settle for less. Ask yourself, how would your life change if you stopped shrinking? If you stopped doubting and instead behaved like the man you respect most? Start today. Stand a little taller. Speak a little clearer. Move with purpose. The world will respond, and so will you. You are the man you act like, so act like you have already won.